And welcome back. Today we are going to be taking a look at World of Warships, and it's one of the best looking naval games that you will find out there right now. I mean, look at this. The sunset, the glare, the ship, the details, it's just absolutely amazing. And this is one of the main reasons why I started playing this game initially. As you know, normally I'm not too fond of sponsorships, but today we are sponsored by a game that I have played before. I made my own opinion on before I got sponsored. And during our trying times in this current economy, I thought it was a good idea to actually look at something else for a change. Battleships here are the main brunt and of course the most iconic ships that you will find. They are big, they are slow, they deal big damage, and they are just a big boat. Something you want to flock to. Luckily for you, there is much more content than just a big boat. There is also some smaller boat, medium boat, even floaty boat with little flying boats on them. And then we have underwater boats. We have a lot of boat today to look at. And every month you will find more new boat to be added to this game. It's free to play on PC. And you can pick it up on the Wargaming website. It will be in the description, but I'll get back to that in a second here. If you sign up with the promo code Warships right now, you will get some doubloons, which are the premium currency, the gold stuff in the top right. You will get some credits, you will get some premium time, and lastly, you will get a premium ship. And if you're wondering what ship that might be, then well, all you have to do is actually log in and find out. More than just the big boats, as I just said. Let's take a look at it. And if you're wondering why everything is in Dutch, it's because I like to make your eyes bleed. The graphics are good enough to counter that, so I think we should be completely fine. So we have the battleships, and next up we have the Kruiser, or the cruiser in this case. And let's look at something like the Des Moines. And the cruisers are a little bit of an in-between ship. They can do a little bit of everything, and that's exactly what I like. So cruisers and battleships are definitely my two favorite classes. The cruiser, because you can do a little bit of everything. You can support your team, you can shoot down airplanes with your anti-air, for example. You can bully destroyers, you can bully basically everything. You bully the destroyers, the aircraft carriers, battleships. Of course, if you show a little bit too much broadside to a battleship, you just get absolutely deleted. But that again makes the battleship fun again. So they go kind of hand in hand. And then next up we have the torpedo boatjager, absolutely fantastic, and those are the destroyers. Kind of a sneaky, scouty kind of boat. You want to just kind of scout the edges, capture points, win on tickets basically, or points, I don't know how to call them, and make sure you aren't spotted. The second you are spotted by something like a cruiser at close range, you can kiss your ass back to the hangar. Other than that, these things are pretty sneaky. They kind of disappear. The spotting this system here is a little bit different than what you might be used to. Every ship has a detection range. If you're in that, if some other ship is in that range, they will see you. You have a second line that's a little bit longer, or bigger I should say, which expands when you shoot. Torpedoes, however, do not expand that circle, which means that you are a lot more sneaky. But cruisers, for example, with a radar are the bane of your existence, and so are aircraft carriers. Speaking about aircraft carriers, let's look at them right now. A Vliegdek ship, as we call them in the Netherlands, we have the USS Midway. The Midway here would be perfect for me. We have a lot of planes, we have RTS kind of gameplay, real-time strategy. You don't have to really play a boat, you can just kind of fly around, harass the entire map, play a little bit of everything, be fast, have a lot of stuff going on, and for some reason I just couldn't get into it. It's funny, because on paper this is exactly what I want. I started playing carriers when I picked this game back up, and lo and behold, I decided I liked the other stuff a little bit more. Turns out when I play a boat game, I like to play a boat and not some aircraft in the air, and then kind of forget about your ship, drift into the middle of the map and get absolutely deleted by a bunch of battleships. That didn't actually happen, believe me, we don't make such mistakes. And then we have, for example, onderzeeërs, and these are submarines. Let's take a quick look at them. Submarines are kind of the same boat, no pun intended, where you kind of sneak around, fly, where you float underwater, you shoot torpedoes at people, and this is just, it feels too different. It doesn't really, I'm not too familiar with the game anymore. The meta has shifted quite a bit. I'm not too great at it. And my skill set isn't adaptive enough to adapt to this right now. And I was mainly looking to just have some fun. So the torpedo thingy, what's it called? The underwater boat, thank you submarine, is not going to be shown today. But it is a playable class. And if you are interested in this kind of gameplay, then it is here for you to enjoy. And if I forgot to mention, first of all, there's a lot of stuff here. And I'll show you everything in the background as I talk about the availability on consoles, because I believe that I forgot to tell you that. I hope you guys like this, a little bit of a change of pace. And yes, the game is going to be in Dutch. The voice lines are going to be in Dutch. Everything is going to be in Dutch today. So brace yourselves, because it's going to be a rough one. Let's start off with a nice little Death Strike, shall we? The battleships are definitely fun, but I think in terms of getting content and having some fun factor and getting high octane gameplay, I do think that the destroyers are quite fun to pick up first. The issue is that they have a little bit of a skill gap. Your presence as a DD is very much dependent on your skill level. If you are very good, you will turn the tide of battle. Not on your own, but you can have a very massive impact. Because if you spot the right people, if you pick off the right people, just like we are doing right here, this battleship is completely ignoring us. We should not be able to do this yet. We can just chase this guy down, and in the span of about 2 minutes, we are gonna dwindle his health almost down to 0. And with almost, I mean he dies. This shouldn't be the case. You need to be vigilant, and the DD, in my opinion, is very fun to pick up. You can just constantly spray. You don't really need to worry about your aim too much. You're mostly looking at pretty close range engagements, and in the small fights, your positioning isn't as important. Most of the enemies will overmatch you. You need to be careful that you don't run into cruisers with a radar, with very good HC guns. You don't want to get melted that way, because they will absolutely melt you in a matter of seconds, especially at the higher tiers here. They have very high caliber shells, very good HE, very low reloads, they all have radars, and they will absolutely melt you. Of course, comparatively, we also have a battleship, because we are also at a higher tier. And the nice thing about World of Warships, in my opinion, is as long as you pull your own weight, you will make a profit. It's not extremely hard to grind a decent amount in this game. You don't need to get a Kraken every game, and for the people that aren't aware, that's like 5 kills. You don't need to get 200,000 damage every game. That's not necessary. You don't need to have absolutely perfect game knowledge and everything to progress in this game, which is, for a free-to-play title, a nice change of pace. Now, if you are like this battleship right here, and that's just gonna completely ignore a DD that's quite close to him, yeah, you are gonna pay. You're probably not gonna get much done, and you're probably not gonna make a net profit this game. But if the next game he makes a decent impact, he gets 80,000 damage, for example, which is only a few good volleys at this kind of tier, then you'll slowly progress. Right now, this guy is absolutely saturated with damage, which means that he's completely basically burned up. His superstructure is basically destroyed. So now AP starts doing a little bit more damage. It's more of an instant kind of kill. He's popping the damage control thing, so we can't really set him on fire anyway. And we can spray him down by simply shooting his belt armor and his superstructure. And even though our guns are pretty puny, he will overpenetrate us. We are small, we are hard to hit. And if we get close enough, we can just torp him, just like that guy just did. Next up, let's take a quick look at some cruiser gameplay. The cruisers here are definitely not as easy to pick up, because they are very punishing when it comes to positioning. You're not as fast as DD, so you can't really squirm your way around. You're not as well armored, and you actually have enough armor to the point where battleships can citadel you across the map. So your positioning becomes a lot more important. The issue is that your skill ceiling also becomes a little bit lower, because you are kind of restricted in the way you play them. This, however, does not go for the Conde, or however you want to pronounce this. This is one of the super ships, one of the absolute final tier, like late game ships that you can find in the game, and this is one of the rare French W's. On the case of this game, it's quite common, because the French Navy is pretty damn powerful. One exception here for most cruisers, there's a few, but shooting AP at battleships and doing this kind of damage is a little bit ridiculous. This thing has a certain perk that increases the penetration. It also has a perk to increase the reload. And luckily they stack on top of each other because the better penetration also makes your gun reload slower. However, what is pretty common practice is finding broadside cruisers in your own cruiser and absolutely demolishing them. Probably one of my favorite things to do. Finding other cruisers in my own cruiser. They are broadside, they didn't know I was there, and I just kind of delete them. This is also pretty funny when you play something like the Minotaur or the Neptune, where the reload here is just absolutely ridiculous. So you just kind of turn into a Gatling gun. But I'm not really a fan of those because you only have AP then, and if people angle or if they're flying kiting away from you, you can't really do much damage to them. And I prefer having HE as well, and what HE does is it allows you to force people to use the damage control module, which is what is on the R key for the repair key, so it puts out fires and it repairs modules or auxiliary modules that have been damaged. And if they use this, that means they become more susceptible to either fires, flooding, damage guns, damage engines, and basically everything that you can damage, and this kind of puts them in a very big disadvantage. So I like to put one fire on people, and if they don't put it out, I get free damage. I'm just gonna let it burn. But if they do put it out, well, I'm just gonna shoot at the other one for a little bit, and once that damage control thing runs out, because it's on a timer, and in that timer everything gets instantly healed, or cured, or fixed, or whatever you want to call it. But once it runs out, it's on a cooldown, and that means if I set 2, 3 or maybe even 4 fires on you, you can't do anything about it, and you're just gonna take all that damage, and that's gonna run me a lot of credits, a lot of XP, and it's gonna do wonders for my team. Fire damage is of course very repairable, so it kind of depends on what ship you do it to, but in general I try to just make everyone use that damage control, and if I do that, then my team can do a lot more damage in return. Now, of course, if they put it out or don't put it out, it kind of depends on what they do. I see that he gets 1 fire on him. At this moment, I don't have anyone else to shoot at, so I'm just gonna keep shooting at him. Common practice is you let 1 fire burn, and he's gonna keep letting it burn. So I'm just gonna keep shooting at him. I have a feeling he's either going to damage con, or he already did damage con it. So I'm just gonna absolutely pester this guy. Right now, I'm shooting the same area of his ship again, so I'm not gonna get a fire. Just a little bit of poor aim. But I try to park behind this hill here, deflect the shots from the guy that's directly ahead of me, and I'm just gonna keep shooting this guy. And this guy right now has 2 fires on him. He's being shot by basically the entire map, and there's really no reason for me to keep going for him. This guy is getting absolutely pestered. There is no chance that I'm gonna get the kill, so I rather just transition over to the next guy. In this case, that's a Yamato. The Yamato normally, well, it's pretty well armored. However, when you are flat broadside to the Conde, well, you're gonna have a little bit of an issue. Right now you can also see that the entire team, and a friend of mine used to call this the Death Star basically, where everyone is converging on one spot. It kind of turns into these 7 beams that turn into a big one. It feels that way. He's getting absolutely fusion reacted, and this guy is not gonna last very long. I'm just gonna get my damage in, because big number is good. And in the meantime, I'm probably gonna switch on over to the next guy to shoot, when I realize that this Yamato is just he's gonna die any second now. He's getting shot at by basically everyone. My team right now has an issue, however. Our DDs are all dead. And it does remain a team game. It is very much team focused. It's all about synergy and trying to find the right tool for the job, basically. It's a little bit of a rock, paper, scissors, and if it does interest you, if it does look nice to you, make sure to use the promo code. You get some freebies, you get Doubloons, premium currency, you get some credits, premium time, and of course you get the also secret premium ship for free as well. Feel free to check it out. At the worst case scenario, you lose some disk space and some bad taste in your mouth. Feel free to check it out. You'll see me all again with the usual in the next few days.